Hi everyone. So here we are, bridging into topic 3. I wanted to post another video to help you along as we are continuing to explore the purpose of research questions and the connection to drawing upon theory and contextualizing our emerging studies within a theoretical framework. So, first of all, I want to say that with the Ball and Forzani, which you have annotated quite richly and deeply, what I'm noticing, and I've said this before, but I'm really happy to see, is that you are speaking back to the reading. And this skill, as I've said already, will serve you really, really well as you continue on with the doctoral program and into your continued work in the field. I see you're posting things about what you're wondering, what you think is not addressed in the article, where perhaps their argument is flawed, is always okay to write about, as long as we can back up our assertions, which you are already beginning to do. What you disagree with, again, this will serve you very well as you continue on to develop literature reviews. I want to say that I'm not if you've noticed, I'm not really responding on NB to your conversations right now, at least. I'm doing this purposely. I'm allowing you to dialogue, which you're doing so thoughtfully. What I am doing is I'm constantly reading what you're posting, and as you saw with the last video, I try to draw from some of the elements that you post, and I will refer to a few things within this video. So first of all, one thing that I noticed is that you're really beginning to think like a researcher. You were talking even about the case studies that Ball and Forzani draw upon. You're considering educational practice in a different way, perhaps from where you have in the past, thinking about some of the underlying research questions, and starting to think about what are the best ways to actually answer research questions. You're referring to your own settings, which I really appreciate. This, again, will also serve you very well within this doctoral program. When you take a course like this, I think any course within graduate school, you're immersed in a course, and then you start seeing all these things around you in your own life that relate to your coursework and to the books you're reading, the articles you're reading. You start to make connections. I'm already seeing that here, where you're commenting on the articles and referring to your own settings and questions that are arising. And this is really wonderful. You're starting to see research questions and topics all around you. One of you had asked in the first reading, what is a research model? Now in the Ball and Forzani, I'm seeing that you're already beginning to see what could be a potential model for research. The terminology that you're encountering in the punch reading, which can feel flat within that type of reading, comes alive, I hope you're seeing, as we delve more deeply. And we're going to be really looking more at research articles over the next few weeks, the next few months, and you'll start to see this terminology hopefully come a little bit more alive. For example, you discussed the Hawkins diagram within the Ball and Forzani, and you referred to it as a model for research. And that, again, is an application from what is more of a textbook type of feel in the punch reading. Whether the Ball and Forzani speaks to you or not, you are already beginning to see what could be some models for educational research. So where I want to bridge now is into talking about topic 3, and I'll talk a little bit about the role of theory. Is that you're already shifting into considering theoretical context for research. Whether you realize it or not, that's what you were doing in your discussion of the Ball and Forzani. So I want to uncover that a little bit for you right now. For some of you, when you hear the word theory, it might make you shiver or cringe a little bit. A lot of people, when they're in their master's program in education, really try to stay away from theoretical readings. Here, obviously, in the doctoral program, you will be doing a lot of theoretical reading, and not only do we want to feel comfortable with that type of reading, but really begin to overtly talk about why theory is so important to your own research proposals and to the research you will be doing itself. So the big idea here is whatever you choose to research, that area, problem, phenomenon, it's contextualized within a greater conversation. Think about any type of theory that you're reading as a conversation that you are stepping into. In the Ball and Forzani, as you've already deeply discussed and pulled apart here, you're looking at classroom instruction as situated within a web of interactions. And that's a lot of the theoretical model that Ball and Forzani are drawing upon. As you all seem to aptly recognize, even if you're not interested yourselves in researching classroom teaching, we can step back and consider this theoretical framework that Ball and Forzani draw upon. So the takeaway as we move along with our course is this. Going back to the Ball and Forzani, classroom instruction. Okay, so this is your topic. Let's say this is your area of research that you're interested in. Let's just take that as an example. When we refer to classroom instruction in the field, we can't assume we're all talking about the same thing. Classroom instruction can mean a lot of different things depending upon the setting and the approach that one has to classroom teaching, the theoretical framework, the model one is drawing upon. I'm using this as an example, but try to then shift this in your mind to thinking about your own area and topics for research. Maury already posted for our next discussion board, which you should start posting to, around Israel education. So the same for Israel education, staff development, Hebrew acquisition, language learning, which I'll get to that example in just a minute. But let's stick with classroom instruction, and that is our area of interest. We need to position ourselves by drawing from previous and ongoing conversations about classroom teaching. Who has done research before us? Who has written about this area? With whom do we agree? So, of course, in your literature review and in your theoretical framework, you're not just going to be talking about everyone and everything that's been out there on classroom instruction. You're going to draw mindfully and thoughtfully to talk about either some theoretical constructs that you agree with that will help to contextualize your own research, or a few that you don't agree with to be able to explain why you're pushing against these models. Ball and Forzani draw upon Hawkins and Schwab and McDonald and others. So this is the conceptual toolbox when you start reading Write this week, if you haven't already started to. This is the conceptual toolbox to which Write refers. In your own literature reviews, you will eventually be dialoguing with both those who align with your views and those who don't, and you will be saying why you embrace their views or why you do not. And the great thing to see in your annotations on NB is that you're already doing this even if you don't realize it. For example, on page 4, Wendy and Laura were speaking back to the line, education is inherently transactional. And on page 5, Wendy, you bring in a potential topic of study of teaching Hebrew language learning, teaching Hebrew language via one-on-one tutoring in a synagogue school. Okay, so that is a potential topic of study. And Andrew, you then consider whether this type of Hebrew language learning is transactional or transformative. So, wonderful. Yes, if you posited that Hebrew language learning, your area of study, is transactional, that's one theoretical take that would generate a very different study than if you were considering Hebrew language learning as transformative. A very different theoretical approach. You would draw on very different bodies of literature and theory to contextualize your study. So again, once again, the big takeaway here is your study is always contextualized within a theoretical framework. I'm sure you're going to read research out there that doesn't do this. I would not consider those very good research articles. As high-level practitioners in the field, I imagine you're interested in the bridge between theory and practice. And Wright refers to this idea of praxis, Praxis. Some of you might be familiar with this term. To others, this might be a newer term. I write a lot about praxis in my own work, in my own research, and my research as well as when I'm talking directly to classroom teachers. Those who promote praxis view theory and practice as inextricably intertwined. They can't be pulled directly apart from one another. It's an ongoing cycle of engaging in practice and then using that practice to reflect and develop new theories about our work and and phenomena. For example, again, coming back to classroom teaching, the idea is if one was interested in further developing one's own teaching, one would do some teaching and then step back and reflect on that particular element of teaching and think about, well, what are they learning about their own teaching? What kind of theories can they generate about what it means to be a classroom teacher that then go and inform their work out in the field? Right, the idea is with any research, we are considering theory and practice as intertwined, so the research you're doing out in the field will generate new theories that then inform our work once again. So just a little bit more on this. What does this mean? What am I talking about here? Well, Wright refers to big T theory and little t theory. So what does this mean? What we've been talking about in the Ball and Forzani thus far are big T theories, theories about classroom instruction. Larger theories about the way things work in the world or the way phenomena relate to each other. So let's just return for a second to the example of Hebrew language learning with one-on-one tutoring in a synagogue school that Laura W. brought up. There are big theories you would need to draw upon to develop this study if you were interested in developing such a study. Are you interested in Hebrew language learning as a transmission of decoding skills, as Andrew questions? Is that Hebrew language learning? Well, that would be a very different sort of study if you drew upon those type of theoretical constructs from if you thought of Hebrew language learning as transforming Jewish identity. The very act of engaging in Hebrew language learning is transforming one's identity. However, so those are the big T theories one might be drawing upon to frame their study. But when one enacts this study on the ground in, say, 3 local synagogue schools with one-on-one tutoring programs looking at 7 different tutor-student relationships, we would draw some conclusions about relationships that are being built between students and tutors. For example, are the ways in which students can participate in the decoding of tefillah or stand up on the bima and decode the brachot for aliyah. So that what you would be looking at on the ground. These are little t theories that we would be generating about what is occurring that would be emerge from our data. We would use, this gets back to praxis, okay? The way I explained praxis before it wasn't clear. These little t theories that would emerge from our on-the-ground study would help to contribute to then generating big T theories that would be used not just by us to better inform our practice, but by others in the field as we write up and share this research. And they can drive Jewish educational policy and practice and staff training, implementation of programming in other institutions. The little t theories help us to ask more nuanced questions about what is occurring in this local setting so that others, as well as we, can draw upon our research for their work, our work that occurs across the field. And even in perhaps other areas of education. One could imagine for your own work, you won't just be drawing, I imagine, upon Jewish educational bodies of research, but from the broader fields of education. So one could imagine from this very study, those who are teaching other languages or teaching in other types of tutoring programs might draw upon the big T theory that is generated from the study. So here you can see how it's cyclical. Again, from this example, if you were framing this study, you would need to draw upon big T theory that already exists out in the field, that you're entering into a broader conversation. Use it to inform your own study that when enacted would generate small T theories about what you're seeing on the ground that then help you to formulate larger big T theories that can then contribute to this ongoing conversation. Okay, so this is the idea of praxis. And as a researcher, you are entering into this greater dialogue here. And that is what I think is most exciting about this next phase of research. So, as you are reading the Write and the other articles that are coming up and engaging in the upcoming exercises, Maury has just kicked off our next one in which he has posted an area of research and a topic for research around Israel education and a general research question, and you will be thinking about specific research questions that could follow from that. And then the next layer is there will be a next Blackboard discussion next week in which you will be thinking about how theory might then connect to these research questions. You are practicing entering into these broader conversations in the field. And I look forward to continuing this journey with you.